X beside their name, the Edmonton Oilers are punching their ticket to the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs with a 4-2 victory tonight over the San Jose Sharks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. Tom Gazzola with you. Ice Koob, Zach Kubusch in the EST Global HQ on the city's west side. I'm coming at you from the satellite studios downtown. And then we're going to be joined by Shawn Bell and Reid Wilkins on the post-game show tonight. Should be a ton of fun. Of course, we highly encourage you to text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. We're going to get as many comments and texts as we can get to as the Oilers do get into the postseason with that win tonight. They limp into the postseason, and it's becoming a bit scary. If it already wasn't, it just got scarier. The Oilers finished with 16 skaters, no Mattias Ekholm, no Zach Hyman to finish up the night. So we'll share some thoughts on that. Obviously, get some feedback from you as well. I am very much concerned about the way this is ending, unless they're being overly cautious with these guys. This is not good. No bueno, as the Latino Heat Hernan Salas would say. All right, start getting those texts in, and we're off and running. Of course, the postgame show brought to you, as always, by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Great to have GCL Diesel on board. Let's get to the Koob really quickly. Koob's filling in for Hernan, putting in a long shift. Koob, what'd you think of that game today, pal?
Well, I thought it started really quick. Like, both teams were going at it off the hop. The Sharks are a quick team, and the Oilers weren't really caught like flat-footed or anything. They got the shots on Romanov, who started strong once again against the Oilers. I'm like, well, here we go again. Georgie's going to be stopping pucks once again, but no, the Oilers were able to get by them. The Sharks bit themselves in the butt taking those penalties.
Yep.
Tons of power play goals and power play opportunities for the Oilers. The young guns going to the box there, Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini. I thought that was a bit funny, them being the first two members of the Sharks to the box, but like, as you mentioned, a couple bad things there with Hyman and Ekholm.
Yeah,
both exiting the game is not a good look. But hey, I'm gonna take it positive. The Oilers clinched, and you move on from there. And hopefully, knock on wood, that those boys are okay.
Ekholm did not play much. Was gone by the 6:41 mark. Off to the locker room, did not return. He ended up playing just a minute 52, 3 shifts. You saw him fall down a couple of times. Didn't look like it was anything, like not getting tangled up with anyone. There was the one where he fell where it looked like he got clipped by the Shark, but I think it was harmless with intent, but potentially harmful to Ekholm if the guy can't finish the game. And if a guy like that is just falling down, super troubling. Super troubling. Now, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want this to be a scenario where they're being overly cautious with these guys. That might be the case, but I don't really think it is the case.
And especially guys like that, right? Like, Ekholm doesn't seem like a guy who wants to sit out of a game, especially when you're already in it. You want to keep playing. Like, you've prepped yourself for the game. You're in it to try and win it, and it's a clinching scenario, even though it is against the Sharks. I'd imagine that he'd want to keep playing, and it was not a pretty sight to see him kind of fall down and then get back up. You never see a guy like that really stumble unless it is something there, but you look at some of the other injuries the Oilers have faced, like Chris Knobloch saying that if it were the playoffs, you would play, but that doesn't mean they're ever 100%, right?
Yeah, that's true. What say you? 780-218-9999. And even Coop, even the Hyman thing, he got tangled up. You could see him grimacing. That's not good either. I'm more concerned about Ekholm, to be honest with you, than I am Hyman, but both guys not finishing the game, especially when these guys want to play games, is not good at all. All right. Belzy's just about ready to go. I'm going to rattle off the scoring summary and game stats from tonight. Then we'll get our game analyst, Shawn Bell, in here to share his thoughts on Edmonton's 4-2 win over the San Jose Sharks. The party got started with Evan Bouchard on the power play, his 14th of the year. Just 6 seconds into that power play, Connor McDavid and Adam Henrique picking up the helpers. Henrique wins the draw. McDavid to Bouchard. One-timer goal, 6:47, one-zip Oil. Then at 15:41, Ty Emberson. Welcome to the fun. Ty Emberson, his first goal of the year, first as a member of the Edmonton Oilers, and he gets a nice helper from McDavid. Evan Bouchard, the secondary assist. Edmonton up 2-0 at that point, but before the period was up, just a minute and a half later, it is Will Smith burying his 18th of the season short side on Calvin Pickard. Nikolai Kovalenko, the assist, also of note. I thought that Kovalenko checked Adam Henrique on that one way too easily to create the opportunity for Smith. And then I didn't like the short side goal on Pickard, but Pickard did end up making some good saves for the Oil. In the second period, just one goal. Henry threw in his second of the year from William Eklund to make it 2-2 at 5:44. And in the third, Corey Perry on the power play had a couple of posts prior to that, was getting frustrated, snapped a stick on the bench, and then he converts, he mucks one in on a nice feed from Connor McDavid. Perry's got 17 on the year. Henrique, the secondary helper, at 7:32, 3-2 Oil. Edmonton grinds it out the rest of the way with 16 skaters, and look at that. They get an empty net goal. Connor Brown, his 12th of the year from Nurse and McDavid at 19:34. 4-2 is your final in favor of the Oilers. Shots on goal, 34-24 in favor of Edmonton. Edmonton wins the faceoff battle 54% to 46%. Power play 2 for 5. PK 2 for 2. Good night on specials. And then hits 22-13 in favor of the Oil. Block shots 20-14 in favor of the Sharks. 18 giveaways for San Jose to Edmonton 7. 7 takeaways for the Oil to San Jose 6. It is a 4-2 final as we welcome in our game analyst, Shawn Bell, as the Oilers get the victory. It is time now for the breakdown with Belzy. The breakdown brought to you as always by South Fort Chev. Buy now and save 0% financing, OAC up to 72 months, or save up to $8,000 on 2025 Silverado 1500s. And it's that time of year for seasonal tire change service. Mention that EST sent you and receive an on-rim tire change for $59.95 plus tax. And they're also giving away big discounts on inspections when you get your tires changed. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. Go say hi to Claire and Daniel and the team over at South Fort Chev as we welcome in Shawn Bell to break this one down. Belzy, positive. Let's start positive here.
Yep.
They win. They clinch.
Yep, they did.
McDavid lights them up as we expected.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what you wanted. You had to take care of business. You had to clinch. Obviously, there was some negative things that happened with a couple guys going down, but good teams find a way to win, and they found a way to win, and that's what really matters at the end of the day.
All right, Belzy, do you want to dive into the negative, or do you want to actually break down some of the good from tonight? Because, listen, they scratched and clawed their way to a victory over San Jose. They had to do that both times prior against the Sharks. Is that concerning? Are they playing down to the Sharks level? How do you view it?
Well, I think this is just something that's been part of the Oilers for quite some time. They always play down to their opponent. This is not a secret. It's not a public secret by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, I just made the point where it's good teams find a way to win, and they found a way to win. So, whether they had to scratch and claw or not, they got the job done, and that's really what matters. And, I think the biggest concern is what's happening with Hyman and what's happening with Ekholm, because that's just two more players. Well, I guess one realistically that added to the slew of injuries. To me, that's the biggest concern of the night. Not so much their play, because that's just historically what they've done against teams that are beneath them. So yeah, hopefully, Ekholm, A, is not out for a long time, and B, Hyman's not out for a long time.
All right, let's dive into the Ekholm and Hyman injuries. More so Ekholm, Bellsy, because this is a guy who had played 4 of the last 17 games for the Oilers. I guess you make it 5 of 18 now. He played just a minute something with 3 shifts. Falls down a couple of times, really on his own, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes straight down the tunnel, and we don't see him for the rest of the night. I'm not saying you're a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm sure there's doctors out there that are assuming what the injury might be, but that scenario, Bellsy, as a former player, former defenseman in the NHL, what are you thinking?
Just not good. Like, Ekholm, I think Zach mentioned it. He's like, Ekholm doesn't seem like a guy that does not want to play. And if he's walking straight down the hallway, like, that is, to me, it's not a good thing. It's, if you looked at over the course of the season, to me, it seemed like it was a nagging injury. And now he's kind of at a point where, this injury that was nagging perhaps is now flared up to something that's keeping him out of hockey games. And that's probably one of the worst case scenarios for the Oilers. So hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's something that he tweaked and he just wanted to be cautionary with it so that he can be available in the playoffs. But I'm really hoping that it's not something serious because they need that guy on defense. Okay,
I said it off the top of the show. Like, I think there is a chance that the Oilers are being overly cautious with all of these injuries so that they can go on a long run.
But let's hope so.
But Bellsy, like, do you recall any teams, either ones you played on or ones that you knew about, that were that cautious to the point where they're sitting this many guys and they're limping into the end of the season? Because now I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but now I'm seriously thinking, this is trouble.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this before. It's the worst time of the year for the amount of injuries. But, the Oilers have played a lot of hockey in the last 6 years. And, they went to the Stanley Cup final. They've gone in the conference finals. So they played a lot of hockey, and sometimes that catches up to you. And unfortunately, it's kind of the wrong time right now. But I think if you're the Oilers, you want to be overcautious because, in the last couple of years, there has been injuries in the playoffs and guys weren't healthy in the playoffs. And, if you look at this team as a whole, if guys are healthy, this is going to be a hard team to handle. So, from the Oilers' perspective, they want to be in the Stanley Cup final again. They want to hoist that cup. And if you can, make sure guys are healthy, then you're giving yourself the best opportunity. So if they are being cautious, good for them.
Text us your thoughts, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Gazzola, Bell, Kubusch with you on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. 4-2 victory for Edmonton, clinching a spot in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's go to Conroe, Texas. Conroe, Texas says, is it just me or has Adam Henrique been the Oilers' worst forward over the last 10 games? On a somewhat related note, who the hell is running the Oilers' medical staff? They clearly have had more whiffs lately than wins. Bellsy, the first point. Adam Henrique, what are you noticing about his game from what you've watched lately? And then we'll get into the medical staff thing.
He's just not moving his feet. This is something a lot of guys, like if you look at Nuge, it's the same thing. When Nuge doesn't move his feet, he's not the player that you expect him to be. And Henrique is the same guy. Like, Henrique's been in the league for a long time. He's a skilled hockey player. He's, in a position now where he's a third line guy, where he's predominantly been a second or first line guy, but he's just not moving his feet. And if you don't move your feet, especially in the NHL, well, you're going to get in trouble. And, he hasn't scored a lot. He hasn't put up a ton of points. Probably he's got in his head a little bit. And then it just kind of compounds and you put yourself into a mental pretzel, so to speak. And then your game just kind of goes in the tank.
Might I suggest, and slap it down or knock it down if this is dumb, guys like him in particular, are quote unquote saving themselves?
I really hope so. Like, I honestly do. But I just at the same time.
Well, that's not good.
Like I played for a long time, and confidence is a big thing. And I go back to Connor Brown lots because Connor Brown last season, didn't score at all. And then as soon as he scored that goal, all of a sudden it looked like he just dropped a piano that was tied to his back, and he became a different player. He's got confidence. And what you saw in the playoffs from Connor Brown last year was completely different than what you saw in the regular season.
Right.
But all of a sudden he started playing with a little bit more confidence because he got that goal off, and it changes his mentality, and then he goes. And now you look at this year, like, Janmark, what have you done? Does Janmark look like the same guy that you saw in the playoffs last season? No. He doesn't. Connor Brown looks better. He's been scoring goals lately. Henrique doesn't look like the same player that you saw in the playoffs last year or even early in the season. So, I do think confidence plays a big part for a lot of these players, and you want to put yourself in the best position to, be a factor. But if you're not moving your feet and you're not scoring, and then you're not playing that well, and it just keeps going game after game, well, it puts you kind of in a bad spot.
Okay. The second part of Conroe, Texas, when he texted in was, who the hell's running the Oilers medical staff? They clearly have had more whiffs lately than wins. I'll just say this. They have Doc Nadeau, who's one of the best in Canada. TD Force is very meticulous, and they're dealing with the hand that they've been given. I'll say that, having known those guys, and I am completely biased towards them. But, I mean, Bellsy, take us through, like, what would you say to Conroe, Texas, essentially? I know he's making a statement, but at the same time, it's like, what the hell is going on? Seriously. And we're wondering the same thing, too, here as media.
Yeah, I mean, optics looks bad because guys are coming in the lineup and then all of a sudden they're tweaking something and they're right back out of the lineup. So, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, like, these guys they're professionals and they're doing their job, and I don't think they're going to try to put guys in situations that aren't good for the player because they want these guys back. And once again, we go back to the Oilers and where they want to go and their expectations. And their expectations are they need to be healthy going to the playoffs so that they can hoist the cup at the end of the day. So in my personal opinion, I think they're trying to do everything they possibly can to make sure that those players are healthy.
So they're playing it super, super conservative. I hope that is indeed the case. Okay, Reid Wilkins just texted us. Reid will join us later in the show, says Knobloch says no update on Ekholm and Hyman. By the way, tomorrow's a travel day, probably no practice for the Oilers. So guess what that means, Bellsy? No update till Sunday, or even if maybe we won't even get one on Sunday. We shall see. Let's get to a couple more texts, and then Bellsy will give us his thoughts going into a big game against Winnipeg, and that's a back-to-back scenario with travel where they play LA on Monday here in Edmonton. Okay, Reid is providing one more update. He says Ekholm aggravated something. They felt that it was best he did not return. So maybe, if we believe Chris Knobloch, being that super conservative approach that you and I were talking about.
Yep.
I hope so. Knock on wood, oil country. Let's go to Library Pat. Library Pat texting and says, nice to see a rare empty netter. Avoid inflating the annoying one-goal game, quote-unquote, total. Clinch miss, and McDavid closer to 100 points. But, geez, this rash of injuries keeps getting more and more ridiculous. Library Pat. I'm not going to disagree whatsoever. Yeah. I'm there with you, Library Pat. Kootenay Time Tim says, unrelated, but why isn't Savoy up and playing with all these injuries? Kootenay Time Tim, he might have to, but Bellsy, the Condors still need to finish their season, and they're trying to make a push for the postseason. It's probably going to be a whimper because they have a ton of injuries, guys who didn't go back down there, guys who are away for family issues, waiting for kids that hadn't played in a month. They're barely scraping together a lineup that can play every night.
Yeah, and you let Savoy just percolate down there. Let it keep him going. Let his confidence skyrocket. He might be up with all these injuries, but the reality is he's a big part of their team down on Baco, and you got to let him play. You'll see him up next year and on the team. So I just think it's important for him just to stay down on the farm and play as much as he can in all situations, because they've got a ton of forwards up here in Edmonton. So I don't expect to see him.
All right, last one before we get to Bellsy's thoughts on Sunday, Monday. Troll texts in, says, who needs a full roster, Belsey, when McDavid plays like 3 guys at once?
No kidding.
Yeah.
McDavid's been unbelievable since he's come back from his injury. Like, a motivated McDavid with a Draisaitl that was playing the way that he is. Scary team to handle because they can will the team to victory just by themselves. So it's very encouraging to see McDavid buzzing around the ice.
Yeah. McDavid 4 assists, +2, 23-37 time on ice, 4 shots.
Is that 7 points in 2 games since he's been back?
That is 7 points in 2 games.
Craziness.
63.6% on the dot
as
well. Okay, one more update from Reid, and then we're going to get your thoughts here. Reid texts in from the Hall of Fame room where Chris Knobloch's doing his post-game presser, says, Knobloch says concern one guy's injury could stretch into playoffs, but wouldn't say which one. Well, that's great. So probably Ekholm, I'm guessing, from what we saw, but God, smoke and mirrors, deception. It's just, I think it's gotten to the point where it's beyond frustrating. I feel for the fan base. All right, Belsey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're shaking your head. This team is limping into the postseason. It has clinched. You get the Winnipeg Jets on Sunday, and then the LA Kings on Monday before wrapping up the season at San Jose on Wednesday. And you got all these injuries. Like, how do you even assess this game on Sunday? Do you bother playing your big dogs a lot of minutes? How do you think the Oilers are going to handle Sunday and Monday?
Well, I think that Connor is the type of guy he doesn't like to rest. Like he wants to be, if he's going to play, he's going to play, and he's going to play a lot. I just don't see that out of him, and it's been like that since the minute he stepped into Edmonton. So I'd expect to see a lot of Connor. But at the same time, like, you're a beat up team. You've got the the Jets coming in, and they are a lot to handle. So it's going to take everybody playing, strap up their socks and play hard, and you got to find a way to elevate your game, because right now, if you look at the Jets, like, they're at a different level. They're playing some really good games.
Yep.
They beat some really good teams. I think they just beat the Stars recently in a bit of a statement game.
4-zip.
Well, you better be ready. And this is not a situation where you can just come into the game and, it's the Sharks and you can just do what you need to do to get by. Like, you gotta play, and you gotta play hard, and you've gotta raise your level, because that is what it's going to take to beat the Jets. And then you got the Kings right after that, and that's going to be another test, and that's going to be your playoff opponent. So 2 massive games for the Oilers. Despite the injuries, they still got to try to raise that level, because both of those teams are playing playoff-style hockey right now.
Double whammy coming up Sunday, Monday, Jets and Kings. You're going from playing against the worst team in the league, Belsey, to the best team in the league, and the Oilers better bring it with whoever they have healthy and able to play on Sunday. Hey, good job staying as healthy as you could tonight. I know you're a little bit banged up. Who's coming on tomorrow with us for Hello Hockey?
Well, we have Carla Napier sending us somebody to talk about the Alzheimer's event, which obviously it's a big deal. I think it's April 25th to 27th here in the city. So we've got somebody coming on for that. And then I think Benny Thompson has an e-bug coming from the Blues. So it should be a pretty good show tomorrow.
Dave Pagnotta as well, our Hello Hockey insider. E-bug, the life of an e-bug. We're going to deep dive into that. That's what this show goes. It goes into the corners in the hockey world. We go live tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Live from where, Belsey, tomorrow?
From Local SoCo.
Local South Edmonton Common. Join us. Take advantage of all the great specials that they have at Local. We will be on location tomorrow. Shawn, get some rest, big boy. We're going to have a good show tomorrow, okay?
Nasties.
There you go. Shawn Bell, our game analyst, breaking it down. Brought to you by Southport Chevrolet, and great stuff there from Belsey. Koob, how are we doing?
Oh, we're hanging in tight. Hearing that, I guess Knobloch is kind of, dancing around some of the injury updates, and statuses of players always change, man.
He is
that's
hot stepping right now, boy.
Well, yeah, you kind of got to wait, right? You maybe put some ice on it, hope it's a little bit different. I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, right? But it's quite alarming to hear that one player in specific might have the injury linger into the playoffs. I think there's more than just one player. There's probably more than just one player, quite clearly.
Frederick, for sure.
Oh yeah, but no, Bellsy killed it. I'm looking forward to Hello Hockey. I always tune in there
every Saturday, 10 to noon. Yes, we'll get the e-bug story. That's going to be neat. That's kind of the fun of that show. It goes all over the hockey world, and we get to talk about cool little stories like that. All right, how are we doing for post-game audio and video?
I'm just getting Corey Perry as we speak. Awesome.
All right, let me know when that's ready to go. In the meantime, we will get to the text line. Get at us, 780-218-9999. Let's go to Not Fred. Says, not sure if I'm the first to say it, but I blame Dustin Schwartz for all the injuries. Not Fred. Not cool. Let's go to Shaggy. Shaggy in St. Albert says, Oilers clinch a playoff spot with a typical game. Play down to an inferior opponent. Can't convert multiple chances. Blow 2-goal lead. Allow Sharks to stay in the game. Pickard with a .917 save percentage. Finally score an empty net goal. Appears Oilers are fragile after all. At least Ekholm lasted longer than 7 seconds before getting re-injured. Do we know what the lineup will be and for game one of the playoffs? How injured will they be? Let's celebrate that they almost did not make the playoffs. A team that was supposed to get at least get first in division. Can't complain about Bouchard or Skinner, who did not start. So nothing more to complain about. By the way, game one of the playoffs, either Saturday or Sunday. No official word yet, obviously, but Saturday or Sunday, likely, very likely, in LA. Mike in Thunder Bay, staying up late on this Friday, says, what else needs to be said except McDavid? Yep, he has been lights out for this team in the 2 games since his return. Joel throws in a clutch Brown and adds an expletive, yeah. Hello, Joel, also staying up late. Pizza Boy said, how is Gager's blazer button not for a star, Pizza Boy? Gager looked really good on the broadcast. I was watching in the press box tonight. He was looking sharp. Stoff too. Gino Paisan with a great suit. That hair is getting long.
How often does he cut it? Doesn't he only get it cut like once before the season and then kind of lets her roll?
Yeah, because Sportsnet would say, hey, Gene, it's time for your haircut. I guess this year that didn't happen. So he just let that puppy fly. It looks like a mop.
Hey, as a man with who used to have the long hair, I respect it.
You did have long hair. I do remember that. When you were a street teamer at 1260.
Yeah, when those ice house shifts with you. Yeah, I used to have the mop long hair past my shoulders. It was a look for sure.
It was a look, but looking sharp, buddy. Looking sharp these days. Shanzi says Picks game 83 starter. Book it. Mark from Arizona chiming in says Connor expending too much energy for the next 3 games. This season is hanging by dental floss. Sit the big guns. Get as loaded as you can for LA in round 1. Jets are on a mission, but this game doesn't matter. LA round 1 does. Mark from Arizona. Good text. Appreciate that very, very much. All right. Oh, here's one from Bruce at William Huff. Good to hear from Bruce. Says, Tom, we can finally launch our playoff items. All of them are ready to purchase now at williamhuff.com. EST listeners get 10% off if they order by the end of the Reid Wilkins Show on Monday. Use code ESTHUFF. ESTHUFF. What was that again?
I had to toss that in there. That's awesome. Let's go.
I like it. Thank you to Bruce and the fantastic crew over at William Huff. So playoff items are ready to purchase at williamhuff.com. EST listeners get 10% off if they order by the end of the Reid Wilkins Show Monday night. Use code ESTHUFF. So EST Huff. I'm going to double check what you could. I'm assuming it's like car flags and all that good stuff. What do we got for the playoffs? So I'm going to look that up while we run our first bit of audio and video. Koob, is that ready to go?
Corey Perry is good to go.
All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. This man with the big goal for the Oilers tonight, it is the veteran, Corey Perry, goal number 17. Here he is.
On Connor here these last couple of games, he comes in and just piling up these assists and setting up these goals. And team's playing well, but he's really made a difference here.
It's a huge difference. He's the best player in the world for a reason. He's come in and he's looked like Connor McDavid and no, we don't expect anything different. That's who he is, and that's how he plays each and every night.
So the optic of it might have been maybe he was going to take another game, and then when you guys were shorthanded, said let's do this, and came back, and maybe some leadership there. I guess maybe would you see it that way?
Yeah. I'm not in the training room talking to them too much. So, if their number's on the board and they're playing, and you go from there. He wants to be in the lineup each and every night, and when he's not, there's something wrong. So it's nice to have him back, and it's nice to have him flying like he normally does.
It's also like to see two more guys leave the game early tonight. You have to play a little short, just digging to get these points.
Yeah, it's tough. Teams are all going through it, and it's just we're going through it right now, and it's tough to see two big holes go down, and those guys they eat a lot of minutes, play a lot of minutes, play important roles for our team, and but we have guys that aren't in the lineup and that can step in and contribute, and guys that are in the lineup maybe do a little bit more. So. We'll get through this and move forward.
You played a long time. You must have been through these in other teams, or have you? Where so many, not just players, but a lot of your better players have gone through this.
Yeah, I don't remember when, but it's probably happened. But yeah, it's tough to see because guys, they battle so hard and they put the time in off the ice and to come back, and then you see that. So it's tough to see.
How do the rest of the guys not get discouraged with the playoffs so close? I mean, you want everybody healthy and they're dropping.
Well, there's nothing you can do. If guys can't play, they can't play. You have to rally around the guys that are on the ice and come together. I think we have a group in here that that can step up and fill holes and play bigger minutes, play bigger roles, and get the job done. So we'll go from there and see what happens.
In an ideal world, you have lines and pairs together, and you get the playoffs with a bit of synergy.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going to have that. What do you need to make sure that doesn't become an issue for you? That you haven't had that benefit.
Well, in an ideal world, that's how you want to go in. You want to go everybody playing at their top level, everybody healthy, and everybody being ready to go. But now we have a few more games to figure that out and be ready.
Corey, can you maybe talk about this commitment to getting the checkpoint of clinching a playoff spot, and what you've also kind of learned about this group in terms of its character going with the ebbs and flows of the season?
Yeah, it's been up and down, but that X is beside our name, and that's step one. That's what we talk about is, you come to training camp, step one is to make the playoffs, and then step two is to get in and get going and see where we can go from there. And it's nice to have that beside our name right now.
Stu's back on the bench tonight, but how is Calvin doing in his absence?
Well, he's stepped up tremendous. I mean, when you have a guy come in and I think he's played almost 50 games, 45 games, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but it feels like he's playing a lot lately. And he steps up each night. Every time he's in the net, he gives us a chance to win, and he battles. But it starts off the ice. He's the hardest worker in the gym, and he's first on the ice, and he's always working at his game and working different things. So kudos to him.
All right, that was Corey Perry talking about Calvin Pickard at the end there. Pickard picking up win number 22 on the season. Pickard now 22-9-1. He's played 35 games this season. Perry, by the way, with a big goal tonight, also had a 15:56 time on ice. He added a couple of shots, hit the post a couple of times as well, so those don't count as shots. Tossed in a hit, and overall was a factor in a positive way for the Edmonton Oilers, getting that important game-winning goal. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff that William Huff has ready to go for the playoffs in a bit. It's pretty good. And then, again, you can get a 10% discount on all your playoff gear at William Huff with the promo code ESTHUFF. So EST Huff. Well, we'll go through that shortly here. We do have Brett Kulak as well. I know I saw, I think it was Brandon from Windsor asking for a Kulak update, wondering if he got hurt as well because he went to the room early. Assuming that Kulak spoke after the game instead of getting treatment right away, he is probably fine. Here he is, defenseman Brett Kulak.
Tonight, is that even though you all expected to make the playoffs, is there some significance to finally getting the Expos that you made?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Everyone looks forward to it. That's the plan all season. Come into the year with the goal of winning the division, but to just secure that playoff spot, it's not easy to do. There's lots of good teams in the league, and it was up and down year a lot of the time, and just to get there, it's a good feeling.
So you get in the playoffs. Now you got to find enough players to ice a lineup. 2 more guys go down tonight. What's the feeling in here as you watch guys seemingly going down one after another?
Yeah, it's tough to see. Obviously, you want all your guys in the lineup, let alone lots of our top guys. Most our impactful guys are coming out, but it's been nice to see. It's not like this happened the last couple of days. It's been a month or so now. So there's guys who've been stepping up and taking on a bigger role and contributing in different ways. So I think we've seen guys do that. So that's promising.
What's it been like for the decor? I mean, basically 2 straight games with 5 defensemen. I know you played a lot. What's kind of been like as you try to round out your game, get rested up, but you're having to play those?
Yeah, I mean, speaking personally, it's a lot of fun. The more you can play, the better it is. And you're into the game. You're getting more situations, more experience. And for me personally, I can say it gets me more ready for the postseason. So it's been, in that way, that's been a positive. But obviously, you don't want to run 5 defensemen every game. Yeah, he pulled me back a bit. It felt like I was barely getting out there.
I think, not having an opportunity to kind of get some pairings locked in, lines locked in, heading down the stretch here, that might be more ideal. Are you concerned about that it'll be a little messy as everything comes back together, some of it for the first time with new players? What's your concern about?
Yeah, it'll be different. Like you say, on the back end, we've shuffled around, and everyone's kind of been with everyone at different points throughout the season, so you kind of know what to expect, but the forward lines, I'm sure they'll get juggled around a little bit more. But like I said earlier, there's been guys who have stepped up in the last month or so when key players are out of the lineup, and they've contributed a lot and showed what they can do with more opportunities. So I think it's going to be more of that.
What can you say about Pickard's performance since Tuesday? He's back in the bench team there, but how's Pickard doing?
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, I think a lot of nights your goalie's got to be your best player. There's a lot of pressure on that position, but he's for sure given us a chance to win every night. If not, he's stole a couple games for us, which has been awesome. And he's an experienced guy, and you can tell that in his game. I think that's his main strength, is how well he reads the play and knows what's happening. So yeah.
All right, that was Brett Kulak. Brandon from Windsor was concerned. Kulak went off early, but he ended up playing 24-31, a shot, 2 block shots, and overall another busy night for Brett Kulak, who says he appreciates and likes that. Gets into the game, plays in all kinds of scenarios. A guy like that, late 20s, talking about getting some more experience, that's a good attitude to have. But by all accounts, seems like, looks like, and sounds like Brett Kulak is just fine. So fret not, Brandon from Windsor, at least for the time being. You saw Corey Perry earlier in his press conference, knock on wood, while he was talking. And so some smiles and some laughs at a time where they're losing guys due to injury and have lost guys due to injury for a while. They're handling it about as best as they can. It is concerning for sure, and we'll see what the fallout is moving forward. However, they do win tonight. They do clinch a playoff spot. They have the X beside their name, and now they focus on the Winnipeg Jets. You have Pickard there, Coop?
That I do, Tommy.
All right, well, let's hear from Calvin Pickard, and then we'll get into the turning point. Reid Wilkins will be joining us shortly as well. Lots to get to. Text us, 780-218-9999. Your thoughts, your concerns, your comments, your critiques. We want to hear from you on this Friday night, and then in the nasty chat as well if you're watching on YouTube. All right, here he is, Calvin Pickard, win number 22 on the season.
Hey guys go down. They rally from 2-0 down with this team. What about the resolve and just fighting through bad stuff?
Yeah, it seems like we always, find our way through tough situations. Obviously, lose a couple key players again tonight. Hopefully, they're okay. But the resolve from the group, nothing came easy. They got some good bounces. It was tough for us to get that third one, and they're playing free too. They made some good plays, but it's good to win, and it's good to make it official that we're going back to the playoffs.
Yeah, this is not an ideal time of year to have the kind of injuries that you guys are having. They sort of seem to keep mounting here. What's your read on kind of how the group is handling it and trying to process it and stay positive? I imagine, but not ideal.
Yeah, you said it. You got to stay positive, but it isn't ideal. Hopefully, everybody's healthy for when game one starts. But it's we got 3 games left to keep playing the right way. The guys in the room here, we got to take care of business, and hopefully, everybody gets healthy.
Calvin, with the way it's been shaken down here, just with injuries and everything like that, is there a possibility you might find yourself in net to start the postseason? Thought about that at all?
I have no idea. I just go game by game. I woke up today with the intentions of trying to play my game against the San Jose Sharks. So tomorrow will be a day to get rest, and we'll go attack Winnipeg.
How would you evaluate the way you feel about your game right now? You get lots of looks here. Where do you think it's at?
If you asked me after the first goal today, I didn't love it, but no, it's been good. Finding ways to win, finding saves at the right times. We've been pretty tight defensively lately too. Obviously, the offense isn't quite the same lately, but we're finding ways to win 3-2, and we're getting a lot of good defensive efforts.
Calvin, I remember asking you in Minnesota one game about your game. I asked you had 5 of 6 wins in your last 6 starts, and yet you weren't happy about your game. Can you maybe talk about how much you've grown since that moment and how your growth has allowed you to fulfill the role that's needed?
Yeah. Anybody will tell you if you're playing all the time, you get into that rhythm, and I've had the chance to play a decent amount the last few weeks, so get my rest time between games and getting into the net and doing my job. As long as I'm doing my job, that's all I can control, and we've been playing great defense as well.
How would you describe Connor coming back from injury and peeling off 7 assists in 2 games today?
So he had 7 assists. Yeah, I mean, he can score or get an assist every shift, so it's fun to watch. It's great to have him, obviously. How many goals did we score the last 2 games? 8. So yeah, 7 assists. Yeah, I think he's pretty important to us. But no, he's been great. He leads by example. He leads in the locker room. Best player in the world.
I guess you're more concerned about how many are going in on you. You're not sure how many achieved.
Right. Yeah, no, it's but we've been playing really good defensively for sure. Tonight there was a lot of times where I was just standing around there. We had the puck a lot of the night, so those games can be tough sometimes. But on to Winnipeg now.
What's it like, Calvin, when there's only 5 defensemen? You used to pairs, probably, reading off the pairs as a goalie. What's it like when they're changing pairs the whole week?
It really doesn't change much for me. You play with these guys all year. You're kind of used to what kind of calls and tendencies they have. So credit to them. They've gone 5D the last 2 games, basically the whole 2 games. So and we've given up 5 goals. So it's been pretty good.
All right, that was Calvin Pickard picking up his 22nd win of the season. He improves to 5-1-1 lifetime versus the San Jose Sharks, and cracking some jokes there about how good Connor McDavid is. Okay, we're going to get to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, they're saying if your back hurts more than your pride after a triple bogey, it's time for an assessment at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. And diving all in on the Masters motif, and I respect the hell out of that. Your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game happened later in the game in the third period at the 7:32 mark. Corey Perry, who was stymied and frustrated a couple of times before, a couple of posts, maybe not being able to jam anything home, finally mucks an ugly one, his 17th of the year on the power play. A nice feed from Connor McDavid. Adam Henrique picking up the secondary says that will be your Advantage Sport Med turning point of the game. Perry's 17th, the GWG in an Oilers victory. All right, Coop, before we get to Reid, do we have the William Huff playoff packages that they have ready to go for everybody?
Yes, we do, and they're absolutely beautiful. I'll pull it up right now for everybody watching on YouTube.
All right, here we go. This is what you can pick up at William Huff. There's a bunch of options here. Remember, you get a 10% discount if you use promo code ESTHUFF. That's EST Huff. For $75, you could get a 2025 City of Edmonton playoff package. Looks like you get a big banner, a bunch of decals, some big ones and some smaller ones. They have $5 playoff car decals. They have $15 playoff car decal bundles. That's 5 for $15. You could get a large pennant for $50, and that's before you get the EST William Huff discount. They have a $100 playoff package that comes with one pennant banner, 2 window decals, and 50 small decals, or decals as they say in the U.S. And then there's a $20 playoff window decal and a $250 package. So if you want to go all out for your business or maybe at home, up to you. The $250 package has 2 pennant banners that are 24 by 48, 2 window decals, stickers, decals, 18 by 18, and 90 small ones, which are 4 by 4, and then a large playoff pennant banner, which is a 36 by 72. So if you want to deck yourself out in Oilers playoff stuff, William Huff is the place to go. New logo and new look for the 2025 playoffs. So get your fresh stuff over at WilliamHuff.com. Enter promo code ESTHUFF. EST Huff gets you 10% off. Coop, thank you for posting that, giving people a look at what they can buy. And I know there's going to be a lot of businesses and individuals picking a bunch of that stuff up. All right. Reid Wilkins is ready to go. Fresh from work in the locker room, out of the coach's press conference. Oilers get the 4-2 win. Text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat if you have any questions, comments, critiques. We want to hear from you. Reid, Rick, what did you make of the Oilers' victory tonight? I'm not looking past you.
Why is the big uke in my house? Like, he was at the station all day. Now he's hovering around my house.
You do one slam dunk with the guy.
What's going on?
Right?
All right. They clinched. Good. It's done. That's important. I made you drop all your stuff, Tom.
I knocked my mic off. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I thought the Oilers dominated the first period. I mean, they were the better team most of the night, but I thought especially the first period, they were just kicking San Jose's butt. And what one of us said to the other, if the Oilers can get the third one here and be up 3-0, this could be a 7 or 8 goal night for Edmonton.
You said that.
Okay, and then San Jose got a soft goal, and Pickard even said in his post game he didn't like that goal. And it's been rare lately for him that he let one like that in. And then San Jose, I think, kind of got a little bit of belief. And as we've talked about, and Randy Hahn said on my show yesterday, this, as bad as the Sharks are this year, when you look at their record, like, this is not a death march, get us out of here attitude on the Sharks.
Right.
They're playing hard. Yes, they've still been blown out a couple times, and they had that wild 8-7 game that they lost the other night. But this is a team that's still like, hey, we got some pride. We got some young, exciting players. Let's go see if we can get it. And then, they kind of stayed with the Oilers, and I thought they made the Oilers work really hard for it before they finally got the win. But, I mean, the Oilers kept how many power plays did the Oilers wind up with?
I think 5.
5 power plays, scored on 2 of them. San Jose only got 2 power plays. So that's sometimes, too, with the the discrepancy in skill, the better team just gets more chances on the power play because they're pushing the pace a little more. But I thought that goal by Will Smith, that gave San Jose a little bit of a spark and maybe prevented what could have been a lopsided loss for them. So credit to them. And then as it wore on for the Oilers, I was just just get the point. It became apparent that Calgary was going to win when they were up 3-0. And then the power play with Corey Perry in front of the net jams it in. So good the Oilers figured it out against San Jose. Pickard, despite that goal against, kept it to 2, and he's been doing that a lot lately. Really, sometimes it doesn't matter the quality of the goals. If you can keep it to 2 or less, or some nights 3 or less, you're still doing your job. So now, Tom, look, I'm going to talk about the same thing. It's injuries. What's going on? So Ekholm kind of wiped out and almost had to crawl off the ice.
Yep.
And goes to the dressing room. And then Hyman doesn't finish the game. So again, the players getting hurt are all on the Oilers' top 2 lines or top 2 or 3 defensemen. So did you have a chance to play Knobloch yet?
We haven't.
Okay, so it sounded like, sorry.
I was just going to say, we could put ourselves through a Knobloch press conference, or you can give us a much more entertaining Cole's Notes version.
I can summarize what I heard. So the first thing he said, he didn't have an update on either guy, and then he kind of got re-asked the question in different ways by other people. Even Rashog said, hey, I got to push you on the injuries. Are these going to stretch into the playoffs?
Yeah.
And he said one of them might stretch into the playoffs.
That has to be Ekholm.
It has to be, because at another point he said Ekholm aggravated something and that Hyman has been playing through something, playing with something, and they just didn't want to push it any further.
Right.
So this is, I can't recall, Tom, I can recall Oilers teams that had a lot of injuries for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't recall this many top players being banged up. And then I can't recall where it's difficult for us to know how hurt they are and how much is load management.
Right.
And then we've talked on our station about, okay, how much is this them being smart with load management, and how much is this rolling the dice that they're delaying a clinch?
Right.
So now they've clinched. So that's great. So they could have Hyman finished the game. Sounds like it, but he didn't. So they just take him out. So who plays now on Sunday? I am now, this is me speaking personally from my interpretation.
Okay.
This is nothing official from Knobloch or the team. I would list Ekholm as highly doubtful for the rest of the regular season. And maybe Hyman in that category, but he probably comes back and plays. We'll see what happens with Draisaitl. Probably plays before the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Wallman's going to play either 1, 2, or 3 games, according to what Knobloch said today.
Man, oh man.
Stuart Skinner's likely going to start on Sunday and Wednesday, I would think. But now with Ekholm, I think this is a pretty big question mark. So now you're looking at the D-core, instead of having Wallman and Ekholm both in the lineup. Now it's really just because what's been sort of the dialogue here throughout the season. I was always even though I wasn't a huge fan of the Klingberg signing, I said, okay, once they sign him, I won't complain about it. I'll just evaluate how he played, and hopefully he's better than Stetcher. And then he doesn't really replace Stetcher, and then it's now Wallman will replace Stetcher, but that's not really happening either because Ekholm's not going to play.
Yeah,
apparently. So now I guess if Wallman were healthy, then Stetcher or Emerson would still have to come out, right? Because Ekholm left. No, Wallman would just play, and Ekholm
he would just slide in.
It would be the other 6 guys. Yeah. I guess Cam Dineen's going to have to they should just keep him up, I guess, at this point. So he's not flying back and forth all the time.
Well, he's been playing 30 minutes a night down in Bakersfield because they're absolutely decimated by injury. And as we've talked about, guys just not being there, veteran players that should be there helping to lead the charge, not being around, which is odd.
Yeah.
But, there could be some reasons for that. It's a mess. Justin texts in and says, I've never seen an injury bug this serious before. Legit.
Yeah. But I'm okay. But my response to Justin is that, first of all, that's a good point. I guess the question I'd say to Justin, if he and I were sitting talking about over nachos, I would say, how much of this is an injury bug that's taking big bites of players, and how much of this is an injury bug that's a little bite, but they don't want the player to scratch it, and then it blows up like a big ugly mosquito bite or something like that.
I hope it's the latter.
I hope it's the latter. It appears to be that way with Hyman. It appears to be that way with Wallman.
Right.
Perhaps it's even that way with Draisaitl. Skinner's going to be back. I mean, maybe he even took some extra time, or they encouraged him to take some extra time.
Right.
I mean, McDavid's clearly fine. The dude has 7 points in 2 games, and
unreal.
There were times like he looks like he could have scored every time he touched the puck. I mean, he was
hit the post,
phenomenal. And I realize San Jose isn't as good as some other temes, but still, I mean, he had 3 or 4 assists. So the question is health. I still think they're probably going to finish third. Though now again they're teasing us 2 points back of Los Angeles. It's just health, and then can they actually put a good series together against the Kings and play some sturdy, responsible hockey, which they have been doing even despite the injuries. Most nights they're not bleeding chances. They're not making silly passes. They're not making silly turnovers. They're generally, working hard in the offensive zone and playing in a straight line. I thought Philp and Jones and Kapanen today were really good.
Almost scored again.
Yeah, I thought that might have been maybe Philp's best all-around game in the NHL. Now, again, lower opponent, but you still got to do it, and you have to do it when you're missing another forward, and there's a little more opportunity to get on the ice.
Yes.
So it's very strange. And I don't think in a league like the NHL, in a sport with the culture of hockey, they would ever come out and say load management. I mean, it's not the NBA. I don't know if they ever would come out and admit, like he's 95%, but we're just protecting the other 5.
No, they would never say that.
It's like that health bar on a video game. Like there's a health pack that gives you 20 health, and you're only down 5 health, but you still pick up the 20 health thing. Just to fill up the bar.
I do that on Fortnite.
I don't know what that is, but cool.
That's a great game. That's what it is. Okay. There's a text that came in from Modular. Mike says, I just met Reid outside of Rogers Place. What a gentleman.
I did meet him. Yes, it was nice.
And Modular Mike added, I heard Tommy has a cold beer waiting for him. Cheers. Yes, I have cold beers waiting for Reid. However, we talked about it tonight in the press box, and we said we're going to wait until the playoffs start, where we're on location for the pre and post game show at the Canadian Ice House in Ice District, and you're going to hop on post game and even pre game if you can, if you're able to. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be like old times. I think it's even going to be even better. I was there today checking everything out. So a cold beer or 2, Riedrich, at Ice House, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds fine. And that was me sort of confused about the setup for tonight. So I'm sorry.
I'm very upset with you, as you can tell.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Wilkins, Gazzola, Kubusch with you. GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Edmonton wins 4-2 over San Jose at a cost. Ekholm doesn't finish the game. Hyman doesn't finish the game. McDavid on fuego again. Pickard, solid except for the first goal. What say you? Let us know your thoughts. Get into the nasty chat. C. Ron Reed says they still have DR10 sitting in Edmonton. You and I kind of talked about this today and tonight. What do we think of this scenario?
Well, first of all, we don't know exactly. Okay, well, let me rephrase that. No, that's fair. We don't know exactly what has happened. We know that Derek Ryan was assigned to the Bakersfield Condors and didn't go. We don't know why. We don't know how the team feels about it.
I know one thing, and it's been told to me multiple times from multiple sources. They worked out some sort of agreement on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough. We do know, well, I would say we mostly know that Oilers management would prefer not to discuss it on or off the record.
Good point.
Is that an accurate enough statement?
100% accurate.
Is that a safe assumption?
Very safe assumption. That's fact, actually.
Okay. So fair enough. Yeah, we could for sure.
Yep.
So then really I would assume Derek Ryan is not an available player.
He does not have a stall in the locker room, by the way.
Right, and I don't
confirm that today.
So then if we know he didn't go to Bakersfield, and then you're reporting that there's an agreement worked out.
Yes.
Then maybe the assumption is that agreement would be okay. If you don't go to Bakersfield, that's fine, but you're never an Oiler again. You're not going to be a black ace.
Yeah.
And right now he would be the 16th or 17th forward anyway.
Correct.
So that's, I can't even remember what the original text was, but if they're asking if D Ryan is available, I would say no.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So there's going to be a lot of things to talk about when the season does come to its end. We don't know when that'll be. Some people will tell you after the first round. Some people will tell you maybe later. But there are a lot of things that have transpired this season that lead to some questions that and some topics that need to be discussed. I'll leave it at that. And this is part of it, the scenario with Ryan. Okay, Riedrich, you get the Jets in Winnipeg on Sunday. You come home and you play the Kings. You're not trying to make any statements here, are you? You're not. You're going to roll 4 lines. You're going to just try to survive these games. Is that a fair way to look at it, or how would you look at these next two here?
Okay, so two storylines for me. Okay, well, a third one that's a lesser storyline, which I guess is the possibility of getting second place, which is still going to be unlikely, but maybe it'll be somewhat on the line when they play LA on Monday. And I believe they have to outright pass LA.
Yeah.
So really they can't tie LA because I think of the regulation wins.
Yeah.
So that's a minor storyline. So the other two main storylines we've talked about to death, though it's going to continue to be a storyline, is the health of the team.
Correct.
And then the second storyline will be goaltending. How does Stuart Skinner play? Does he look a little more confident and a little more steady than he did in the 6 weeks or whatever before he got hurt? Because I think that, I do think they'll play Pickard in game 1 if Stuart doesn't look right or look good. And they said today he's going to start 2 of these 3 games.
Yes.
Which leads me to believe it's Sunday and Wednesday. Okay. Just to break it up and not to make him back up for another game after he came back tonight. So those are the storylines. Who's healthy, staying healthy, and then does Skinner play well enough to earn the game 1 start in round 1? That's how I look. I mean, of course, they want to win, and we'll talk about how they play after all those games. Sure. But to me, those are the overarching storylines.
What a time. Never a dull moment. It's never easy for this franchise, but it is a sure thing that it is a hell of a lot of fun to talk about. And that's why we get to do what we do, and we love to do what we do. Riedrich, you are a gentleman and a scholar. As always, I thoroughly enjoyed sitting with you in the press box today. What a night in the press box. All kinds of stuff happening, wouldn't you say?
Yes, certainly, I can think of 1 or 2 things that were bouncing around the press box tonight.
You're the best. Riedrich, enjoy your weekend. I look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thanks, Tom. Coop, thanks for working extra today. See you guys.
There you go. There's Reid Wilkins, host of the Reid Wilkins Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6 with Jay Milne and the Koob. Great stuff there from Riedrich. And I have a few texts that I want to read. I will get to them. Keep those coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat, I see ya. It's been buzzing pretty good, but we have some business to take care of, and it's Koob's first Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game this season. Damon Bunting, you know him. He's been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. He was great today on the Hangout with Jay Milne, Matty Ekholm, and Big U. All right, Koob, take it away, pal.
He absolutely killed it on the hangout. I just want to say that, like,
great guy.
Round of clicks for
round
Damon Bunting.
Round of clicks, yeah.
Because anytime he's on the show, anytime he's around here, it's always a good time. But the player of the game tonight, Tommy, it's an easy one. It's pretty straightforward. It's the captain, Connor McDavid. 4 assists on the night, and he records another 70 assist season. And the only 2 players with more 70 assist seasons in their career than Connor McDavid, you guessed it, it's Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. So he steps into sole place in 3rd position, having the 3rd most 70 assist seasons in a career. 23 and a half minutes on ice, +2, 4 shots. Like, what else do you got to say about the guy? He's electric. Player of the game goes to Captain Connor McDavid.
Well done, Koob. Well done. That is the Damon Bunting Player of the Game, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate, now part of The Agency. Yes, McDavid has been lights out. He'll probably get to 100 points again after missing all that time. And that is a great... I like that you added the graphic in there, Koob. Nice little wrinkle to throw into the YouTube side of things with that stat there. He joins Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux with how many 70 plus assist seasons now?
That's
9?
Let's see here. That's 7 now. Let me see.
9,
he has 5 more than Sidney Crosby did in his career. Gretzky had 16 and Lemieux had 8.
Wow. That's the best of the best, man. And Connor's right up there. All right, let's wrap things up with some text. Cal in the Park also was on the hangout this week. Says, thanks for a great hangout yesterday. Ekholm is a huge concern. And if he can't go, the question is the goaltending good enough as a duo, as it will take both to make a run? Cal, that's a great point. I don't know, man. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm being optimistic this time of year. I love this time of year. The questions are legit, and I want to think that they can pull it together, but there's been some instances this season where you're just like, ugh. Definitely they've cast some doubt on themselves for sure. Twitter Mary chiming in. Twitter Mary says the turning point was the empty net goal. Not the turning point of the game, but maybe the turning point of the season. Twitter Mary, heavy emphasis on the empty netter, something that the Oilers have struggled with mightily this season. Oh, look who it is. Atif gets the last word tonight. Gentlemen, how are you tonight? Great win for the Oilers. We're going to the playoffs. I'm still hanging around Rogers Place looking for trouble. LOL, just kidding. Will Skinner start versus Jets on Sunday? Atif, get home safe. Do not hang around Rogers Place too late. It can get dangerous, especially for a guy like you. Shady. I'm just kidding. You're not shady. You're awesome. Skinner starting versus the Jets on Sunday. Yes, we think so. And like Reid said, probably on Wednesday as well. And we'll see how he performs. And if that gives him the start in game 1 of the playoffs, we shall see. All right. It's been a crazy show. It's been a wild night. The Oilers win 4-2 over the San Jose Sharks. They clinch a playoff spot. Still a slim chance that they could win over the Kings on Monday. They're going to have a good game against the Winnipeg Jets on Sunday, and there is that outside chance that they do get second spot in the Pacific. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. Be healthy. Be ready to go for another series with LA. Big thank you to Reid Wilkins and Shawn Bell. Great stuff from them as always. To everybody who texted in, we appreciate you. For all of you who watched, you guys are awesome. Hit that thumbs up button on the way out. However you watch or listen to this show, thank you so much. Great job, Koob. You're going to be doing it 3 more times before Hernan gets back, all right?
All right, no Demoriers for me. Maybe for Hernan.
Demorier lights filtered, of course. All right, for Ice Koob, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have yourselves a great night. Join us tomorrow, Hello Hockey, 10 a.m. We're live on location at South Edmonton Common Local, where you can come by, say hi, hang out, and enjoy a bite. All right, ciao for now.